Today's world is full of countries coming from different eras and progressing at different speeds. Some countries still bear traces of the past, while others have perfectly adapted to the requirements of the modern age. This makes visitors feel like they have stepped into the future. These countries are distinctly different from other countries with their lifestyles and technologies, making visitors feel like they are in another world. Japan is one of the most diverse countries in the world. Especially those who come from far away to Asia from somewhere in the west of the world seem to be extremely impressed by the unique lifestyle of this country. Japan is an island country located in East Asia. The name of the country comes from the combination of the names of the sun and the origin in their own language. It is said that this name was given to the country by the Chinese. Geographically, it consists of 6,852 islands. The country of Japan, which has a total area and structure of 378,000 square kilometers, is home to 125 million people in this area. In fact, this number can be considered quite normal for Asian countries. Today, there is a dense population in almost every country. The country is extremely close to both China, North and South Korea, and Russia. Is it really a different country that leads the world by far, or is it exaggerated? So let's take an in-depth look at life in Japan, starting with the recent past. This is Tokyo, the heart of Japan, a highly developed city of 37 million inhabitants. It is also the most populous city in the world. This city is so crowded that every good and bad moment in Japan happens in this city. The government even offers its citizens a one-time fee of $7,500 per child to leave this city. It is such an important city that the world's second largest stock exchange is managed from Tokyo. Tokyo is the capital of Japan and the largest city in the world. This city is an important investment center not only for Japan but for the whole world. Tokyo is a leader in trade, culture, and finance and has the world's fastest railway. However, it was not easy for Tokyo to reach these days. It was a country that was the target of atomic bombs 78 years ago and lost the war. After the war, under the influence of the USA and Western countries, Japan gave up its dreams of territorial expansion and turned to internal development. The Japanese became a hard-working and productive nation and created world-famous brands. Toyota, Canon, Sony, and Honda are some of them. In addition to science and technology, they also achieved success in the fields of culture and sports. In 1964, they organized the Olympic Games in Tokyo. Tokyo has become a metropolitan city and one of the economic centers of the world. But Tokyo has another problem: earthquakes. Tokyo is located in a seismically very active region called the Ring of Fire. Earthquakes above magnitude 8 occur here frequently. In 2011, a magnitude 9 earthquake caused a major disaster in Japan. Part of the island country was flooded by a tsunami. Such natural disasters have always existed in Japan's history. The so-called Edo period, which lasted from the 1600s to the late 1800s, was Japan's most brilliant period. During this period, unique values such as puppet theater, geisha culture, and sumo wrestling emerged. However, even in that period, disasters did not leave the country. It is very difficult to live in these lands, and especially in the villages. As the waters rose, houses were flooded. Some villages turned into floating cities, so people had to move to earthquake-resistant buildings. In big cities like Tokyo, buildings are equipped with seismic isolators. But in Japan, there are not only earthquakes, but also strange and interesting things. For example, human-powered bicycle taxis. These bicycles are also available in Bangladesh and India. But there are no taxis there. In Japan, this is a tradition. To keep the culture alive, people take tourists around on these bicycles. You sit on the back seat and watch the person in front pedaling. It looks like a horse carriage, but there are people instead of horses. The price of this journey is around 3,000 yen. Hotels in Japan are also very different. It would be unfair to call it just a hotel, because there are all kinds of accommodation options. If you are tired at the train or metro station, you can rent sleeping areas. There are also hotels managed by robots. There are no human employees. There are also hotels with bookshelves for anime lovers. You can read magazines and relax. The purpose of these hotels is to attract tourists and arouse interest. People come to such facilities in Japan to see things they have not seen in their own countries, take photos, and introduce them to people, both making money for the Japanese and advertising these places. This is a really ingenious initiative. The Japanese have always managed to differentiate themselves and generate revenue for their country through clever initiatives. However, hotel culture is changing in Japan, and people are turning to alternative ways. They are looking for a living center where they can socialize. That's why they designed special hotels for gamers. These places are like internet cafes, but offer an atmosphere and environment that isolates you from the outside world. After playing a game with the community, you can retire to your room and sleep. This gamer hotel costs 5,000 yen per night. Another indicator of how advanced Japan is in hotel management is that according to the Guinness Book of Records, the oldest hotel in the world is located in the mountains of Tokyo. This hotel was opened in Japan exactly 1,300 100 years ago and modernized over time. For 52 generations, it has been run by descendants of the same family. For those who want to stay in a historical heritage, the price per night is 47,000 yen. The importance of the hotel for the Japanese is indisputable. It was determined that the hotel was opened 1,300 years ago by analyzing the bones of the first owners. These bones prove that they lived 1,300 years ago. The hotel has survived all empires and wars. This is because it is hidden among mountains, valleys, and forests. The first thing that will greet you when you visit Tokyo is the magnificent skyscrapers. Walking among these skyscrapers, you may feel like you are in a big labyrinth. But don't worry, Tokyo is a very safe and organized city. You can find subway stations, bus stops, and taxi stands everywhere. Transport is very easy and cheap. Tokyo also has a great nightlife. In every corner of the city, you can find bars, clubs, restaurants, and cafes where you can have fun. One of the most interesting places in Tokyo is Akihabara. This is the center of electronics, anime and manga, video games, and cosplay costumes. Here you can find all kinds of gadgets for tech enthusiasts. It is also a paradise for anime and manga fans. Figures, posters, t-shirts, and other accessories of your favorite characters are sold here. You can also see people cosplaying. Cosplay means portraying a character by wearing a costume. These people usually imitate anime and manga characters. Some of them make very realistic and successful costumes. Another interesting place in Tokyo is Harajuku. This is the fashion and cultural center of young people. Here you can see the latest trends of street fashion. Young people wear very colorful, creative, and daring clothes. Some of them adopt different styles such as punk, gothic, lolita, kawaii. Others create their own style. In Harajuku, you can also find many shops, boutiques, cafes, and galleries. If you want to see the historical and cultural side of Tokyo, you should go to Asakusa. This is the oldest district of Tokyo. Here you can visit Sensoji, Tokyo's most famous temple. This temple was founded in the 7th century and is dedicated to Kannon, the goddess of Buddhism. On the way to the temple, you can find many stalls, shops, and restaurants. They sell traditional Japanese food, souvenirs, handicrafts, and antiques. When you visit this country, you will see that its culture, education system, technology, and human relations are also different. Etiquette is very important in schools in Japan. Children learn to be moral, respectful, and environmentally conscious. They clean their classrooms themselves, put the containers of the food they eat in the dishwasher, and do not wait for the cleaner to throw away their rubbish. Japanese people who grow up in this way also keep the places they live in and the countries they visit clean. Vending machines are also very common in Japan. On the streets, you can find vending machines where you can buy all kinds of food, drinks, toys, and even rent a family. Yes, you did not hear wrong. If you feel lonely in Japan or want to be a guest in a family's house, you can rent a family over the internet. Whether you are old or young, with or without children, you can choose the family you want and spend time with them. These services help you understand what Japan is like, not only in terms of architecture and gastronomy, but also in terms of lifestyle. There are other interesting services in the country. For example, you can hire friends who pretend to be game characters or chat with you. Their profession is to befriend lonely and unhappy people. They introduce themselves even in the most crowded streets and work legally. You can spend time with these people as you like, eat with them, buy gifts, go to their cafes. Of course, this comes at a price. You have to pay different fees for each service. These people always have a smile on their faces, but this is only a requirement of their job. Since Japanese people are generally an introverted society, they have difficulty in making real friendships. That's why they turn to this kind of relationships full of artificial and fake emotions. The fact that Japanese people cannot be sincere even among themselves is a bigger problem for foreigners coming to Japan, because as a non-Asian, it is very difficult to establish a natural intimacy with people from different cultures. It is very difficult for a European or an African who wants to live in Japan to make friends there. In addition, the English-speaking skills of Japanese people are very low. Only 8% of the country's population is fluent in English. Half of the population, about 60 million people, do not speak English at all. Therefore, anyone who wants to settle in Japan should learn Japanese at least at a basic level. Japan is one of the world's largest economies and job opportunities abound, especially in big cities like Tokyo, where it is easy to find work if you speak Japanese. However, there are also disadvantages to living in Tokyo. The houses are very small and expensive. The population density is very high and the buildings rise like skyscrapers. Although they are earthquake resistant, people living in Japan live under the constant danger of earthquakes, unlike other countries. Japan is known as a country resistant to natural disasters. However, this does not mean that the country does not have other problems. Suicide is a serious social problem in Japan. About 30,000 1,000 people take their own lives every year. This number is higher than in many other countries of the world. Reasons for suicide include work stress, financial difficulties, loneliness, and depression. Some people go to the forests near Mount Fuji to commit suicide. This forest is known as a horrible place where the bodies of suicide victims are found. Although Japan attracts attention with its colorful culture and advanced technology, it is a fact that people are unhappy. Japan is a country to be visited and seen in every aspect. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment. See you in the next video.